365 Days of Horsemanship, day 262. Oh, it's been such a nice day today. The weather is amazing. The sun is out. I feel like spring is coming. It's been proper like warm sun, which is so lovely. And the horses have all appreciated it as well. Lawrence has laid down twice today, which is so amazing. I was feeling so sad that he's getting older and that he's stiff and that his muscles are sore, and so he doesn't lie down as much anymore because, you know, it's uncomfortable for him, and I'm really like feeling sad about this. And so to see him lie down twice today and to see him get up twice as well, like really easily, just made me feel so happy, because like I just really want him to be okay basically, and to be comfortable. So that was really nice. I came up and I still feeling a little overwhelmed today, and so it did take me again like a little longer to like get up and get going. But I got news last night that my nan is finally coming out of hospital, so we're all really happy about that. And I'm going to be going to spend some time with her, leaving the day after tomorrow. So I've got this whole like week down there with her where I can really like think about some theory, think about where I'm going, and really like put some things down on paper that need to be put down on paper. And so that kind of helped me feel like the pressure was off a little bit, because I knew that I was going to have all this time to think about these things. And so like really today I just needed to get out and just see everybody. And yeah, so I made it up here. I wanted to go for Mia first, and then I saw that Lawrence was lying down, and so then I wanted to go up to that herd. And I was a little clumsy today, definitely. Like both times I feel like I definitely could have been more quiet, and like everybody would have stayed kind of like calm and sleeping for longer. But it's quite difficult in that herd because there's definitely two horses for whom my presence is pretty like is too overwhelming when they're sleeping, and so that kind of interrupts the flow. So if I want to go and sleep with Lawrence, then those horses kind of feel like they have to leave, and then so that kind of is an extra challenge anyway. When I arrived, actually one of those horses showed me that everybody was like super concerned about a giant a Pirelli green ball. It's like a giant bouncy ball. It's actually like a super fun thing to play with, and we have one down by the arena, but somehow overnight it's traveled all the way up to the top of the valley and is sat there with everybody up at the top. And this horse is like, look, you got to see this. And so I went and I got that, and I had to bring that back down, and so that was really interesting. Everyone was super interested in that. So then we played a little bit with just like helping the herd to just like calm down, and like moving the ball around until everybody's feet were still, and then we could all breathe for a second, and then moving it again, and then stopping when everyone's feet were stopping. And it was kind of interesting because it was definitely a great exercise to get to know the different horses' personalities. Like Lawrence is such an introvert. Like he's like, I am just gonna stand still and watch this. I feel no need to move my feet. And then if everyone else is moving, then he's overwhelmed. He's like, I gotta move now. But his preference is always to like stop and be still and to like process something from a place of stillness. Whereas some of the other horses are much more extroverted, and that's really interesting. It was really interesting to like watch the herd together, and it was kind of nice. Like I feel like it was almost a bonding experience for them. Like Elsa and I talked about this when I was there. She said like sometimes it's like a horror movie, and I feel like it was maybe a bit like that. Like they all watched this horror movie together and kind of bonded. Like nothing bad happened, nobody died, like everybody was fine, nobody got hurt. It was really scary. And then like later on they all like gathered around again together and started sleeping again, and I felt like it was kind of nice because like the herd's been really well bonded today, and they've just been doing a lot of stuff together. So after I brought the ball up, I brought Mia up with me, and we did a little bit of work on our sideways on the ground, sideways to walk and halt, which is coming along really, really nicely. I'll try and get another video of that tomorrow for everybody so that you guys can see the progression. And Yeah, and then we worked a little bit on the circling again, which was good. Definitely I've noticed actually both on the ground and in the saddle, like there's always been this real focus, definitely from my perspective, on her shoulders, because she really will push with her shoulders. And recently, these last few days, I've really actually noticed more stickiness in her hind end. Like her hind end is like the one that won't yield sideways. Like there's a lot of forward motion, but when you ask for like a sideways, like for the feet to cross over and come under each other, there's a real like brace there. And so it's just been about working through that. So yeah, there was a lot of working with pushing the hind end to get into a sideways, rather than like, she would basically just kind of like continue walking in a forwards direction, but just like slightly away from me. And so then I would have to like keep pushing on that hind end until we would get it come around into the sideways. But it was good. I felt like there were some really nice moments, and I found that what I ended up focusing on was like this tiny little bit, like right up just behind her pole, where she's like got this like real like stuck out like counterflexion, and just waiting for that tiny little piece to come around, because the picture's pretty uncomfortable overall, you know. She's like and it's like and she's like and it's got this like ears back, and like everything's really stressed, and so waiting for everything to be better is unrealistic, and it's just going to be confusing and unclear, because like there's so many other things she would rather do than soften that much. So I've got to choose like a starting point. Like I've got to choose something that's really clear, that I can see, that I'm going to be able to release on consistently every single time. And yeah, and that was this little piece of neck here, where I could just focus on that and have my like soft eyes, where I'm like seeing this one thing and looking around at everything else, see the big picture. And as soon as that like whoop, like just little bit of like release, then I'm like, yeah, and then we can walk again. And then what was happening a lot was that immediately she would go back to this, and so then we would start the sideways again. And I think that's how it's going to be for some time. It's also about learning the cue, and I was finding that sometimes if I didn't just reward the sideways, then she would stop the sideways. And certainly while she's getting used to this being the cue, it's like sometimes if she offers a really nice sideways, I want to reward that as well, because I want her to feel like clear that is the game, like that is what I'm asking for. And then once she's comfortable in the sideways, then it's like we're waiting for this to happen, we're waiting for this softness. But that went really well. I was really happy with that. And then we had a lovely ride. I can tell that she's been doing quite a lot of work on the rail, which is super. I have decided I'm going to work on a circle. And so I've been working a lot on staying on that circle. And when we're drifting away from that circle, using like hind end yields and forehand yields, just to stay back on that circle. And then every now and again, I'm working with my sideways into a halt. Because my sideways into like a faster trot, I tried working on that, but I found that my yields were not soft enough to start that successfully. I was finding that we were just getting really tight, and I was having to put a lot of pressure on her. And so I think what I need to do is just work on maintaining direction, and then we can start, once we're good at being on the circle and those yields are really soft, and it's like a tip of my hip forwards or backwards, or like a tip of my like thigh or knee forwards or backwards to get that yield in walk on that circle, then I can start looking at like using sideways to push up into more of a walk. So yeah, so I guess it's like a bit of isolation, but it's really good. Like it's challenging, it's super. So yeah, so that was really good. And I went out for a hack at the end, and just went up the road, and yeah, it was all super, really, really amazing. So, yeah, it was just a really good day all round. So I'm looking forward to sharing all of that with you guys, and enjoying the weather for the rest of the day. So yeah, catch you later.